Zendikar Rising has some absolutely insane game-ending cards. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about another absolutely bonkers card from Zendikar Rising. Now, I know there was a little bit of contention yesterday, a little bit of disagreement, as some people felt like the card I was saying was insanely strong wasn't really that insanely strong. From my perspective, it totally is, but hey, whatever, we'll let time tell on that one. This card we're talking about today, I don't think there's going to be as much disagreement. I think when people look at this card, they're going to go, okay, yeah, this one is way more bonkers than that angel is, right? And it's already up on the screen. That's how I do this now. I put the card up at the beginning so I can talk as much as I want, and you won't feel like, why aren't you showing me the card, babble man? Because I must babble first. I'm here to tell you why this card is blah, 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 and I'm going to show you this example and this example to blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're here to do. We're going to talk about Morag. People get upset about how I pronounce things, which honestly just kind of makes me want to mispronounce things more, because it's funny to watch people get worked up about the pronunciation of a made-up name of a magical minotaur that doesn't exist. You know, like, that's funny to me. But anyways, we've got Morag, Fury of Akume, okay? And this is a... that name. This is... I am a child sometimes. 2 red and 4 for a 6/6 legendary Minotaur warrior, which admittedly feels pretty cool. Minotaurs don't have like a lot of super powered cards, so I feel like this card is going to make Minotaur tribal people very happy, and he feels like a really solid choice as a Minotaur commander if you're playing mono red. Obviously, if you want to play like red-black Minotaurs, you can't pull that off with Morag because he doesn't have partner or anything like that. But regardless, let's get into what makes this beefcake so insane. So, on top of being a 6/6, he has the ability that says each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it has attacked this turn. Now, that ability on its own is kind of, okay, whatever. But when you combine it with this landfall ability, woof, it gets nuts. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, and that means main phase before your first attack, main phase after your first attack, it doesn't matter. You just have to be in the main phase, right? So when a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So, essentially, this just sets you up for multiple bonus attacks. But the thing is, all you have to do to trigger that bonus attack is lay a land. And then not only do you gain an additional attack phase, you get to untap all of your creatures for there's no cost. Just the process of laying a land, right? Which later in the game, laying a land is usually a pretty disappointing affair. In most cases, you're going to hold on to extra lands in your hand to make it appear to your opponent like you have more options in the game than you do. It's a time-tested tradition in Magic the Gathering to just keep extra lands in your hand. If somebody makes you discard a card, you pitch one of those lands, and they've wasted their time and mana trying to make you discard cards that don't matter. And if they don't, they have no idea if you have answers or not. It gives the illusion that you are in a better position than you are, right? But the landfall turns it into every land drop equals an extra attack. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be you playing a land normally. If you're using spells now, obviously Growth Spiral's off the list because they banned it, right? And that's like 3 colors. Not that 3 colors is hard to do, who am I kidding? But either way, cards like that just say put a land, like Euro, for example. Euro combined with this guy. Put a land out. Oh, look, you did it during your main phase. Guess you'll get another attack phase. And the crazy thing is it's at the beginning of the combat that you untap all creatures you control. So, I mean, in one way, that's a disadvantage, I guess, versus like untapping right away. Like when you play a land, untap all creatures you control, then there's an additional combat phase, right? So you could argue, well, you know, like because you have to wait until the beginning of the combat phase, if you have a bunch of tap abilities you want to use, you'll have to wait until the combat phase, decide whether you're attacking with the creature or you're going to use the tap ability rather than playing lands in multiple succession where, let's say, for example, you could play 2 or 3 extra lands a turn with Azusa, right? You could go play a land, untap all my guys, tap for a bunch of abilities, play a land, untap all my guys, do all that kind of nonsense. With the combat phase, it does restrict you from being able to go like, tap 5 mana producers, lay a land, untap them, tap 5 mana producers, lay a land, untap them, and just build insane amounts of mana. So there is that. But there's also the fact that this guarantees you can use all of your tap abilities before you attack with no concerns. Like you can have creatures out with tap abilities, simple tap abilities. Like say, for example, you had Chandra's Magma that taps to do 1 damage to a player, right? You can tap it, and then you get to untap it and it's ready to attack. Admittedly, that's not like a super strong card, but when you combine it with the power bonus that Morag gives, plus the fact that its tap ability does damage, it might be okay with him. I mean, I'm sure there are better choices, but I'm just trying to give an example of the additional power level of this ability. It costs nothing to activate but dropping a land. There are ways to return lands to your hand as well. They just put out that new blue enchantment that says, I mean, we haven't spoiled it yet, so I'm not going to put the card up, but it basically lets you return a land to your hand whenever you play a land kind of deal, past your first land. So you could just create this kind of like endless cycle of making sure you have enough lands. Again, these are 3-color combo setups, but right now in Standard, there's no problems with 3-color setups. So we've got triomes and all kinds of different ways to fix your mana base. So 3 colors, people are doing that all over the place. That is a non-issue. So when it comes to this additional attack phase sort of thing, the way that this started out in Magic was with Relentless Assault, which was 2 red and 2 for a sorcery that said untap all creatures that attacked this turn. You may declare an additional attack during your main phase this turn. So this is just an older wording for the same kind of ability. Untap all your guys, and you get another attack to swing with everybody. But that's 4 mana, right? That's 4 mana compared to the 6 mana to have that slapped on a Minotaur that every time you lay a land triggers it. That is considerably more powerful than Relentless Assault. In fact, Relentless Assault, I am totally willing to say that Magic's power level has progressed to the point where Relentless Assault probably isn't strong enough. I mean, theoretically, I could see it being used in a commander deck where you need, like, the whole idea is to have all kinds of different cards that give you multiple attack phases, right? But otherwise, Relentless Assault feels like a card that just goes by the wayside. The artwork on it is very, very interesting, as this is a distinctive style of, like, goblin depiction and artwork that we saw around the time of Visions, and it's just got a very nostalgic feel to it because there is no Magic art like this anymore, right? This is from a different time. We're looking at a time capsule, which is why I like to look at these older cards. Now, even when you move up the chain into a stepped up version where you go from Relentless Assault to Aggravated Assault, right? You have a scenario where this one is 1 red and 2 for an enchantment that says pay 2 red and 3, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only anytime you could play a sorcery. So this is a scenario where Aggravated Assault is like usable multiple times, right? But you end up with a scenario where, like, to use it the first time, it costs you 8 mana in total, and all you've gotten out of it is untapping your creatures. That's it. Like, all you've done is untapped your creatures and gotten an additional attack for 8 mana, which is 2 more than the Minotaur effect with you just laying a land. So you're paying 2 more, you're not getting a 6/6 body. Yes, on one hand, to be fair, enchantments are much harder to deal with. The creatures are easier to get rid of, so an Aggravated Assault can stick around. Now, Aggravated Assault is a card to me that is not outdated, right? This is something you can still totally enjoy and use. Relentless is no good anymore, really, overall. But this one, totally. Like, I was looking at this going, wait, do I have one in my cube? And I'm like, no, I had a foil one that I let somebody get off me. I don't have one of these in the cube. So I'm definitely going to have to crack open my Explorers of Ixalan box set to get a regular version of this for my cube. And then I can work on getting a new foil version. But either way, this one is a solid card, but still nowhere near the Minotaur's level, right? Now, let me show you an example of a creature with a repeatable attack phase ability strapped onto it from the same world. This is literally from the world of Zendikar, and that's Kite Charger. It's 2 red and 4 for a 5/5 flyer with haste. Whenever it swings, you can pay 7 mana. If you do, untap all attacking creatures, and after this phase, there's an additional combat. So for this one, it has to attack to trigger. You have to pay 7 mana as well on the trigger. On top of that, it will only untap attacking creatures, right? So you look at it and go, well, wait, like this feels more reasonable. Like, yes, it's a rare versus a mythic rare, but this feels like, okay, you've already got 6 mana to cast the Charger, so it's only 1 more mana. It only untaps attacking creatures, so it feels more balanced. But then you turn to the Minotaur, and he's literally a 6/6, right? Like, he's literally a gigantic 6/6 beast. And here's the easiest way, I think, to break down how absolutely busted this guy is. With any other of the cards that I've shown you, if you had 2 1/1s, you would get, and they were just like not blockable. You've got 2 1/1s out, that's all you're swinging with, okay? In each of these scenarios, you're doing 4 damage. But with Morag, 2 1/1s equal 10 damage. Because when you attack with them the first time, right? The creatures, it says each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it's attacked this turn. As soon as you declare it as an attacker, that means it's considered to have attacked this turn. That means 1/1 swing for the first time are now 2 1s, right? And then once you untap, you play the land, untap them and swing with them again, now they've attacked an additional time, which means they're 3 1s. So you've swung for 10 damage with 2 1/1s. That feels absolutely bonkers. I mean, I know that they're pushing this fire design where they want things to be strong and interactive, but this feels really strong. And what's even crazier to me is looking at it and going, this feels really strong. There's a part of me that goes, this still might be too slow. It still might be too slow for standard. I feel like it's a great finisher and it is strong enough, but I could be wrong. We could look at the environment after the full set of Zendikar Rising gets spoiled and see that the format is too fast for this to be a part of it. And that's bonkers to me because this card genuinely does feel absolutely intense. I mean, from a gut reaction, card feels amazing. Does it feel mythic? It feels 100% mythic. You have a giant hulking Minotaur. He looks awesome. He's down in this sort of like almost sportsman football crouch. You know, when the football players are getting ready? I don't know what they call it. Is it called a snap when like they throw the ball back and the guys all charge into each other? Pretty sure it's something like that. So this guy's like a linebacker. Those are the front dudes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not super into sports, so it's not like my thing, but I've picked up a little. You know, I know some of the terminology. So if I'm not mistaken, linebackers are the dudes who hunch down in the front and just are essentially a wall of meat that slam into each other. And Morag has kind of that feel to it, but he also looks so powerful that when he launches himself forwards, it's going to be almost like a lightning bolt taking off. He's just going to be that fast. He does have a fury and a rage to him with those gigantic Minotaur horns that look like they're made out of crazy stone. He's really impressive looking. And just the fact that like he leads to multiple assaults like he's just relentless is fantastic. I absolutely love the flavor of this card. It's just the power level's crazy off the charts. I don't know, man. Either way, if you haven't already made your way over to my second channel, I have a Magic Lore channel where we have all kinds of awesome Magic Lore. And there's a brand new video coming out this weekend that features Karn, Joyra, Teferi, Urza, all kinds of awesome characters. You're not going to want to miss it. If you haven't headed over to my Fantasy Geographic channel, Go get over there now because you are missing out. Other than that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff is great for the channel as YouTube looks favorably upon those things. If you really love what I'm doing, hop on my Patreon. And other than that, thanks for coming by, my friends. I shall see you all. Oh, wait. Tonight we're going to do an awesome wheel stream where we're going to open some ridiculous card game where ladies turn into battleships and stuff. I don't know. It's crazy nutty. You're going to want to come by and check that out as well. Figured I should mention it. So anyhow, let's all get on up out of here. I will see you all later.